Hello everyone. Today I would like to share a new prioritization framework which I think will be very simple to use, simple to understand, and simple to communicate with all the internal and external stakeholders. Most of my past year has been spent in hospitals due to personal reasons, and one of the books that I read during that time was a book called Hooked: How to Build Habit Forming Products by Neer Ayal and Ryan Hoover. I came across this interesting concept from startup industry about evaluating ideas or product ideas, whether they are painkillers or they are vitamins. Now, I thought of extending the concept and created a PKVit framework, that is painkiller vitamin prioritization framework, and I wanted to test the framework with fellow product enthusiasts, hence creating this small video to explain it for everyone who wants to give it a try. Most of the times while prioritizing, we do not possess all the required information about the backlog item. We do not know exactly how much money it can save. We do not know how much time it might save. We do not have the business case. So basically, we lack the whole set of quantitative information. When I'm saying we lack the information, what I mean is basically we lack the exact information. But because we do have partial knowledge or limited data about the backlog item, so how can we use a framework to prioritize the product backlog with this limited set of information? And how can we communicate about this priority with everyone across the organization? That is where I think PKVIT will be able to help. Let's get into understanding the framework now. The framework is simple to use. Do you all know painkillers? They are medicines which kill the pain. In the same way, painkillers from the product backlog tackle a business problem, something like reducing cost or saving time or any issue raised by customers, or say to maintain a competitive edge. So all the product backlog items which solve a business problem can be termed as painkillers. Similarly, what are the vitamins? Normally, they provide vitality, they give you energy, or they provide you strength. Same way, vitamins from the product backlog are something which enhance the existing product. For example, something which is built over and above the existing feature. Also, if you add a persona against each of these painkillers or vitamins, you will know which persona or personas you are helping with, or which ones are you prioritizing. So adding this small detail will help you to use the framework for better effect. Now, if you don't want to break down the priority framework any further, and this much information is enough for you, you can categorize the product backlog into painkillers and vitamins for various personas, and then decide which ones to pick for the implementation. So if one applies PKVIT based on your knowledge of the industry or of the product or the existing context of your specific project, you can easily prioritize the backlog. It will help in communication as well. People who know what are painkillers and what are vitamins, they'll understand exactly that what do you mean. They can understand at a glance about the prioritization. Plus, adding a persona will help everyone to know for whom we are solving any business problem or whom are we helping with this backlog item. So when you say it's a painkiller for a particular persona, you need not explain detailed rationale behind the prioritization. This is a very high level information about the PKVIT prioritization framework. So let's take an example. Say there is a product backlog from an e-commerce app which goes like this. So the first item is about addressing timeout failures. So you have launched this new page to edit profile. It has gone live now, but you are getting reports about timeout failures. The next item is about integration with new payment gateway. The next backlog item is about upgrading supplier APIs to its latest version. The next item is about discount code changes for supplier, which might impact your profit margins in future. So that also needs to be done as soon as possible. Then comes the fifth point wherein there is a feedback from UX team based on their analysis that we need to change address format. by adding landmark section. Then the sixth item is about, say, for example, showing product images into carousel instead of gallery. So this is the outcome of user research done by product team to improve visibility of product photos. Then the last item is about increasing the character limits for product description, and this has been requested by suppliers from past few months. So you need to incorporate that as well. Now let's see how do we apply PKVit prioritization framework. So this to this backlog. So the first step is to categorize these items into painkillers and vitamins. The backlog items which are tackling business pain point are considered as painkillers. For example, timeout failures. So they are killing the pain of failing to fill in profile section. Then a new payment gateway is reducing pain of not able to pay via additional payment gateway. Then supplier can have their own pain areas like maintaining older version of APIs. That pain can be reduced by integrating with their newer version of APIs. Similarly, vitamins are enhancements over and above the existing features. As you can see, items which I have considered under vitamins. Now one can decide to stop here and prioritize only painkillers to implement based on their context or product or business requirements. But if you want to add further flexibility to this framework, then you can add specific subcategories against painkillers and vitamins. Let me try to explain this. So amongst these painkillers, the pain points injected due to recently launched backlog item or release, which is the first point, addressing timeout failures. I am adding a subcategory as a post-operative painkiller. That's one of the subcategories of painkillers. Then comes totally new backlog items, which is planned to solve a business problem, which in this case is integration with new payment gateway. I am adding a subcategory as new painkillers. Then there are items which are related with, say, tech debts, upgrades, non-functional requirements or compliance requirements, something like upgrading supplier APIs to its latest version. I'm considering them as preventive painkillers. So basically, they will avoid future pain which might be induced if you don't do these items. Then comes the fourth subcategory, which is issues that need immediate attention and resolution, which is something like discount code change for supplier in this case. I'm adding a subcategory as operating theater painkiller. So basically, you are into an operating theater that the product is live and it's working, but this is something that needs to be done as quickly as possible because it's going to impact your profit margins. So something which needs to be done right now to solve a specific business problem can be called as operating theater painkiller. Similarly, if we try to add any subcategories for vitamins, so for example, there are items which are enhancements to recently launched features, something like changing address format by adding landmark section. So for this item, the subcategory can be considered as post-operative vitamins. So basically, you've gone live with a certain feature, and this is an enhancement over and above that particular feature. Then comes the next subcategory, which is totally new UI or UX enhancements. So something like showing product images into carousel instead of gallery. Now they can be subcategorized as new items. Then comes items which are like continuous UI enhancements or something that you will have to do continuously to maintain the system or enhance the system. That is something like increasing product description character limit. And that item can be subcategorized as multivitamin supplements. So this is the next second step wherein in first step we categorized the backlog into painkillers and vitamins. Then we added subcategories to each category. Now as a next step, you can add personas for each and every backlog item. Say in this example, the personas for the e-commerce product are buyers and suppliers. Let's try to assign these to each and every backlog item. So I have added personas against each and every line item from the backlog. Items marked with B are for buyers and the items marked with S are for suppliers. Once this is done, then comes prioritization theme or analytical theme. The beauty of the framework is it gives one freedom to balance various aspects based on their own context. They can choose their own prioritization theme accordingly. So you choose your theme, and then based on that theme, you prioritize items to be picked from the backlog. Let me try to explain this using prioritization themes of product life cycle. Now, till this point, basically what you have done is you have added all the details which are required for the prioritization framework to work. The next step which I'm talking about is basically about analytical themes. So wherein say uh, based on your product life cycle or specific stage where you are in, you can decide the theme of prioritization. I'll give you an example. Say for example, you are in idea stage or introduction stage of product life cycle. Then in that case, what will make sense is focusing on new painkillers and post-operative painkillers as soon as you introduce a feature. So if any MVPs are launched, you can look at the post-operative painkillers for that MVP. Also based on user research, you can prioritize new vitamins as well. Then say for example, you are in a growth stage or launching many new features one after the other. In this case or in these stages, maybe you can balance operating theater painkillers and post-operative painkillers, but do not ignore preventive painkillers as well. And along with it, you'll have to make sure that you are also working on multivitamin supplements so that making sure that the whole product is balanced enough or healthy enough so that it can grow over a longer period of time. Its growth won't be stunted. Now, let's say you are in a maturity stage of product life cycle where most of your features are stable and only minor enhancements needs to be introduced. In that case, what you'll do is you'll balance all the vitamins and preventive painkillers. So basically, you are making the life stable for the product. So operating theater painkillers can also be considered. So basically something which gets introduced over a longer period of time into the product functioning, those particular items can also be considered. So as you can see, you can decide the PKVit theme for prioritization. The framework gives freedom and flexibility to the product team based on their specific context. And I think that's what adds a unique flavor to this framework. Let me conclude the video with steps to apply PKVIT framework. Step 1. Categorize the backlog into painkillers and vitamins. Step 2. Add subcategories against the categorized painkillers and vitamins. I recommend doing step 1 and step 2 together. That is, while categorizing backlog into painkillers and vitamins, try to add the subcategories at the same time. Step 3. Add personas against each backlog item. Step 4. Identify PKVIT themes or analytical themes for prioritization and implementation of the backlog. Step 5. Implement the backlog as per the finalized theme. So my request to all the product enthusiasts watching this video is to give me a feedback about the framework. Use it and let me know if you face any challenges. Part of the framework that worked for you, parts which did not work for you, or if there are any additional inputs or improvements that you want to recommend. So thank you for being patient and listening to my monotonous voice. I hope you will find PKBIT interesting enough to give it a try on your existing product backlog. Any practical insights, any real life examples will definitely help me to understand if the framework is of any use or it's of no use at all. Looking forward to listen from you, and thank you again.